So you're out there on your long bike ride, everything's going well, you're having an excellent ride, it's a nice day, and you get a flat tire. Of course, you never learn how to change a flat tire because it's never going to happen to you, right? That's what we're going to learn to do today, is how to change a flat tire. Mark's going to take us through it step by step, what you need to know, what to bring, and how it's done. So for starters, the first thing you're going to do when you get a flat tire, you get off your bike, you're going to remove the wheel from the bicycle. At this point, Mark has the wheel, and first thing before you even get into changing the flat, it may not be completely flat, so he's going to let all the air out of the tire, making sure that all the air is out of the tube now, so it's going to be a lot easier to remove. To remove a tire, this is, you're going to take out your trusty saddle bag. Some athletes will keep tools in their back pocket, some put them in a saddle bag, lots of different ways of doing it. You're going to use tire levers. These tire levers are used to help pry the tire off the rim of the wheel. So Mark's going to use a tire lever to take the actual, to remove the bead of the tire off the rim to get started.
And one thing that's helpful is you want to start from the opposite side of the valve stem. They'll make it easier to remove the tire, and you're not going to get into issues with the valve stem interfering with what you're trying to do. There are two sides to this tire lever. One side is used to pry the tire off of the rim as well as put it back on, and the other side has this hook. This hook is used to attach to the spoke once you've gotten the tire lever underneath the tire itself. So what I'm going to do is just push the tire back a little bit, put the cup end, as you can see there are two different ends to this. We want to put the cup end underneath the tire bead and just gently pry it back. And that's when we would use that little hook on the other end, and we're going to attach it to the spoke. So this tire lever is going to stay in place just like that. So I'm going to grab another tire lever, and I'm going to move approximately 4 to 6 inches away from the first one, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to use the hook end of that, get underneath the tire, and pry that back. At this point, the tire is usually off the rim enough where we can slide one of the tire levers around and completely remove the remainder of the tire from the rim. So I'm just going to slide this around. And usually at that point you can just use one of your fingers. Okay, so we have one side of the tire completely removed from the rim. Now we can easily remove the tube. So what we're going to do is just pull the tube out. And sometimes, if you have a longer valve stem in the rim, you might need to just pry the tire back a little bit to help that come out. So we have a tire that's still on the rim and a tube that's been removed from it. So we need to establish what caused our flat in the first place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a pump, and I'm going to inflate this tire, or this tube a little bit. And depending on how large your hole is, you may need to inflate it just a little bit because there's a very large gash in it. Sometimes you might have to put a lot of pressure in because it's just a pinhole. All right, so I have a little bit of air in here, and I'm just going to listen as I walk the tube around in front of my ear to try and find the spot that caused the flat. Sometimes there are very small holes and you may not hear them. If you have some water nearby, or if you have some energy drink, you might even try putting it on the tube to see where it starts to bubble. So as I listen for it, okay, I hear a little hiss right here. So I'm just going to put my finger on the hiss so I know where it is, and I'm going to bring my wheel over here, and I'm going to line up the valve stem where it went into the tire originally. And I know that my flat was caused by a pinch right here, or a hole. So I know that there might be something still stuck in the tire right here. So I'm just going to kind of look at the tire and see if there's any gash there. I'm going to feel on the inside with my fingers to make sure that there's not something still lodged in the tire. And it might be a good idea, if you're not certain which direction the tube came out of the tire, to just turn it 180 degrees and check that same spot in the other position. Okay, so I feel reasonably confident that there's nothing in there. You might want to do a quick visual inside the tire to see if there might be a piece of glass or something else that broke off inside there, so it's not going to cause the flat anymore. Another potential cause of the flats, besides something being lodged in the tire or something puncturing the tire, would be the rim tape. Now the rim tape is on the inside of the rim. As I peel back the tire, you can see that instead of using rim tape, I have a little plug that I put in each one of the spoke holes. But it's a good idea to just look at those to make sure that the rim tape is going to cover all of the little holes that were drilled into the rim in order to put the spokes and the nipples through there. So a quick visual check, and I can see that all of these are in place. And also, the location of the flat on the tube itself can be indicative of where it is. If it's on the top surface of the tube, it's most likely caused by a puncture or some road debris. If it's on the bottom side of the tube, it might be caused by the rim tape having shifted a little bit and exposing one of the holes, or it could be caused by some piece of debris that was actually stuck to the rim. Most of the time when you encounter it, it's going to be a puncture, and if you carefully check the tire to make sure that there's nothing still lodged in there, most likely you're going to be fine for installing a new tube. So, I happen to have a new tube right here. A lot of tubes, when they come to you, they're going to be packed flat and have no air in them. You just want to undo the valve stem a little bit, and if you need to, just blow a little bit of air so it actually takes some shape. Not too much, just enough so it takes some shape. This will make it easier to install it. What I find the best way to do it is to find some place to sit down so you can rest the wheel on your lap. The first place you're going to start is with the valve stem. So we're going to peel the tire back just a little bit and place the valve stem in there. Next thing we're going to do is just kind of position the tube a little bit around the tire just to make it easier to work with. Pull the edge of the tire over the valve stem, and you'll see that if you have a little bit of air in your tube, it's going to nicely go into the tire without any undue fuss.